So a quick rundown of some cutting parameters. At the moment, this log, I just did one cut, but as the log was, there's nothing to tell me anything about the log. The moment I've done that first cut, this face now has a register. Now, I haven't moved my blade, but now I can move my ruler. So these are magnetic strips, you probably have similar. And I have marked the height here, so I know what to come back to, because this is based on the height of the bunk. So that's a 0 point. And then from there on, it tells me how high my blade is off the bunk. That's why the numbers go downwards. So now what I can do, which is quite cool, is I can slide any one of these magnets. I've separated them, actually used to come as one. Moved this one in a while. And I can slide this to something known, like a 450. Now that 450, before I move this blade now tells me it's at 450, that blade, not relative to the bunk, but it's just a number, it doesn't matter, any number. But that 450 mark tells me what height this is. So now if I want to make my next cut 25 mil down from this, all I have to do is go down with my saw that amount. So what's that? 425. So now if I was on the other end of the log and I was about to do another cut, that would tell me that I'm going to be 25 mil down from whatever this face is. This face has no relativity to anything. And this is kind of a little bit of a head scratcher to get your head around. But basically, that magnet strip is telling me where this cut is, nothing else. And I can work my way down on this log now in whatever increments I want based off this first cut. That's how thick everything's going to be. Now, imagine I roll this log 180, so this face is down on the bottom. Suddenly this becomes a true register to the bunk. And then all I have to do is chuck this magnet strip back up to that line that I made, which is a really great little adaptation to just mark where the actual ruler is meant to sit. And now from there on, this is true. So wherever I cut, it'll tell me how high I am from the bunk. So I can work my way down the log from the bunk downwards, if that makes sense. Or from the bunk upwards, but you don't generally cut the bottom of the log, you cut from the top down. Anyway, hope that's making sense. But that's how this sliding magnetic ruler is designed. That's why it's a magnetic ruler. Partly also so that you can have different ones, like this one here. It's meant to compensate for kerfs. So if you're cutting 2-inch bits of wood, then you would use this side, because it has a different amount of loss per cut versus doing 1-inch. But yeah, don't worry about that one, it's just extra. I have just decided to not worry about the 2.5 millimeter of kerf, because nothing that I'm doing is that exact. But this is the most important thing to understand, is basically before you've done any cutting on the log says nothing to you. The moment you've done your first cut, it also kind of doesn't tell you anything, because that cut could be anywhere. You could decide to make that cut relative to the height of the bunk, but I wouldn't bother with that. It's better to make one flat face, do a few things, and then roll it over, and then you have to do a few cuts on here, but this side is then going to tell you something. All right, that's number one.